Hey guys, this is Sam here, and I'm just gonna take this time to talk about Trayvon Martin versus George Zimmerman, and I'll try my best to explain the reasons why George Zimmerman is still out there and has not been arrested, and why it might take very long for him to be actually arrested. All right, first thing that I want to establish is that we should forget about race. In this case, race is not the dying factor. Because George Zimmerman is white and Trayvon Martin is black does not equate to the fact that George Zimmerman is still out there. I know you can name a lot of white kids or a lot of white adults who have committed such crimes and have been have faced the death penalty. So let's forget about race. Let's put the race cards away and let's talk about law with evidences, because that is what this case is lacking. We've been around the racial border for too long, and the court will not care for the fact of George Zimmerman being white and he's still out there. Alright? But here's the thing. The first thing that is really protecting George Zimmerman is the due process law. Okay? And here, the due process law basically says that before a person is arrested, the government must act fairly in accordance with the established rules. And as awful as it seems, the rule or the law in Florida protects George Zimmerman. Okay, his attorney just said that his case, the case has nothing to do with the stand your ground law, but that's total baloney. I'm gonna quote the stand your ground law to you, and you will see that it directly protects George Zimmerman. Okay, so according to the stand your ground law in Florida, this is what the person who is engaged in an unlawful activity and who is attacked in any other place where he or she has a right to be has no duty to retreat and has the right to stand his or her ground and meet force with force, including deadly force, if he or she reasonably believes it is necessary to do so to prevent death or great bodily harm to himself or herself or another, or to prevent the commission of a forcible felony. So basically, this law says that if you feel that if someone tries to harm you, or if you feel like you're being attacked, you don't you have no duty to retreat, as in to step back, but you have the right to meet force with force, as in if you have a knife you can stab that person, if you have the gun you can shoot that person. Or even if you feel like that person is suspicious of a felony, that person is suspicious of committing something harm to someone else, you can use that same deadly force that has been stated in there. So basically, the stand your ground law is the main thing that is protecting George Zimmerman. As in, if that law was to be repealed, or if that law was applied into other states, there currently will be like a mass increase in murder. You see, people are equating Michael Vick and George Zimmerman. That is not, you can't compare those two people. Because one, Michael Vick is in a different jurisdiction than Florida. The law in the state where Michael Vick's crime was ruled is not the same law in Florida. So when you equate race to Trayvon Martin and George Zimmerman, we're not going to get anywhere. Don't get me wrong, I want George Zimmerman arrested. I strongly believe that he did this based on a disbelief. He had, quote unquote, a reason, but his reason is invalid, and I think that he should be arrested. But the thing is, if we continue to uphold race on race upon race, we are never going to get anywhere, because what the court is lacking is the real reason. What happened during that altercation that they, quote unquote, that occurred? Did Trayvon Martin do something to George Zimmerman? Or did George Zimmerman just shoot him for the fact that he just thought that he was suspicious, and that is an erroneous idea? So basically, let's forget about this. Let's forget about race, and let's focus on the actual detail of what happened. Yes, the witnesses have come up and said that yes, they saw George Zimmerman with Trayvon face down. But then the court is going to ask what happened before Trayvon was face down. Did Trayvon try to attack? The 911 tapes are perfect for this case. But then race, let's eliminate it. Because if we continue with race, due process and stand your ground law is continuously going to protect George Zimmerman. And even when habeas corpus adds up, as in a law that is used to protect people from unjust arrest, George Zimmerman is never going to see justice. So let's forget about race and let's fish into the actual evidence that proved that George Zimmerman did this based on hate or based on the fact that he just suspected him for him being black. It's true that it's awful. The case is a huge tragedy. But then what we should be careful of is that in our search for justice in America, we should not be unjust. As in, if we want justice to prevail in America, then we shouldn't be unjust to George Zimmerman, because he does have the protection of due process, and he does have the protection of your standing ground law, and he does have the protection of the writ of habeas corpus. Thank you for watching.